As a bride-to-be, I cannot wait to talk to Kate Halfpenny, founder of Halfpenny London. She started her career for 15 years as a stylist to the stars. And then in 2005, she decided to bite the bullet and start her own boutique, her own wedding boutique. And I'm really fascinated to talk to her about how COVID has affected not only her industry, but her very precious business. But also, what is that outlook? What does 2021 look like for the wedding industry, for the fashion industry? I'm excited to have this conversation. Certainly, I know she's going to be very cool. I follow her on Instagram and already have a girl crush. Cannot wait for this one. Thank you as ever to Dell, who allows these conversations to come to life. And I hope you all very much enjoyed this interview with Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Halfpenny and I am the designer and founder of the British luxury brand Halfpenny London. I can't wait to talk to Holly to discuss all things bridal and how the coronavirus has impacted the bridal industry and how we're looking forward into the future to deal with the new wave of weddings.
Here she is.
Thank you for having me, Holly.
Oh my goodness. Before we get started, I just wondered, I know that you've got your mum to a little boy with the best name ever, Sylvester. I mean, what a brilliant name. And I was just wondering how, we're going to get into work, but how have you navigated this time? And it felt like when I asked that question before, that it was almost navigated that time. Yeah. And whereas I've got that feeling like, it's almost like, okay, what are you going to do the second time round?
Exactly what we did the first time round, and hold everybody's hands really tightly and just get through this together. I couldn't believe when I read the news this morning in bed, and I said to my husband, oh my God, my bride. And he just went, we went then for coffee after, and he said, that is just really interesting that you said that it wasn't, what about my business? It was about my brides. And that is genuinely my heartfelt, oh my gosh, and you being a bride too. It's like this, it's that all the organizing it takes to make a wedding, let alone organizing it 2, 3, 4 times for some people. I got more messages on Instagram this morning just saying, oh gosh, I mean, I got a message from a bride that's one of my brides, and actually she gave me some statistics on how there were 5 weddings in Belgium that then escalated to infect 500 people, and the panic that then brought to a town and a city. And obviously we don't want any more deaths than we've already have. It's catastrophic, and the impact that that's had on the country. But it's kind of, it's so confusing, isn't it? Nobody knows.
So confusing because, you can also, can't you, I don't want to get too sort of, I fear, because anytime you say anything counter, it's almost as if you're saying, I don't want people to be safe. I don't want to protect. I do, of course, almost like
100%.
Let's say that's a given. But you do then hear, don't you, how many people died of flu last year? Or, what if we were all treated like adults and knew that if you had a wedding with not that many people outside, let's say, that actually you can do your own risk assessments and potentially that's okay. Now, I understand hundreds of people in an indoor venue with lots of alcohol, but what if it isn't? And I feel like we're losing our ability to be adults and make these decisions because, of course, none of us want to get sick.
No. What I find remarkable is we are teaching the country to wash their hands and to take responsibility if they're not feeling well, to stay out of places. Shouldn't we have been doing all of this in the first place? And it's like you say, we are adults, and can we not do our own due diligence? But the problem is you cannot rely on the entire population to do that, and that's the problem. We all get put in the same box, and unfortunately that is what has to happen, I guess.
What has to happen.
Yeah.
But I can imagine. And so how have you mentally got through this time? Before we talk about the impact on your business, and also I'd love to hear your story because it's one that warms my heart. It feels not similar, but that we're in the same melting pot. But how have you gone through this as a business owner? It's taken a lot from us, hasn't it? It's really required some, some resilience, some founder resilience.
I feel insanely proud of how myself and my team have got through this, particularly my team. I had the first day back in London yesterday. I live out in sunny old Faversham in Kent, and kind of have lived in my very wonderful bubble here with my husband and my son. And to be back in the atelier and the shop yesterday and seeing brides coming in for fittings, beaming smiles, my team, and like it just relit that fire. I'd almost had that. I did an Instagram post yesterday that sort of said I didn't know who I was anymore, because although I'd navigated this all from home and worked here and done lots of interviews, lots of Instagram lives, lots of consultations with brides, but it's very different because, you know, being a mum and a wife and in the home, having always been this businesswoman that's, you know, ran as fast as I could and juggled as many things. I'd lost that sort of sense of weight. I think I hadn't quite realised. I didn't sleep the night before on Monday evening, and you know, I was really nervous about even going into London on the train. But yeah, I was excited yesterday to be back and to wake up to this news, just thinking I'm about to get back into London every week, couple of days a week, and we're, you know, talking about launching 5 new pieces for October's bridal market, when normally we'd be doing a whole collection, and starting to get excited again about all the things in the diary. And then it's wow.
I think also it's the fatigue, isn't it? I'm sure that people listening are feeling the same. It's the fatigue from going, I haven't slept, I worry I've lost my mojo. Who am I a little bit? And you get in and you're sort of like, yes, that's who I am. Okay, I'm going to, and then it gets taken out, you know, and I think it's that mental fatigue of, you know, you're slightly ping-ponging, aren't you, around it. And certainly for business folk, I know that to be true. I just wanted to ask you, so you through the period of time of COVID, so I can imagine in your industry, a bit like the beauty industry, you know, there were certain industries, the restaurant industry, that just, you know, and actually they got to do deliveries, you know. So for your industry, I know that you did a brilliant campaign and where you created the 25% off your bridal clothing for the NHS workers, you know, those NHS workers who are also getting married. And is it, and I know, is this right, that you create 100, in obviously pre-COVID, 100 dresses a month?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine that. So how did you, when you got that news, what were your thoughts and how have you navigated that time? Have you been, I mean, I went off the pivoting word, but I'm sort of back on it now. I don't mind the P word so much. You know, was there pivoting that was going on?
Most definitely. I mean, what we did in order to hold the hands of our brides that were booked in, that were having a first appointment, to keep them inspired, we started doing virtual appointments, and we'd do a split screen with a Zoom chat, and we'd talk them through the collections and talk about things that they liked. And actually this model has been something that's really inspired us moving forward. We're finding brides come to us, they've got more of a sense of what they actually like from our collection, because it's so big. That I think it's something that we'll keep doing. We're still now doing pre-appointments before you actually physically come in, so you can really work out what it is that is your style, rather than getting sort of consumed by a real wedding that you like the looks of. Or, you know, it's like Pinterest, isn't it? I'm sure with your wedding, you end up down a rabbit warren and then you don't even know what style. It's the same. I'm trying to do a new kitchen here, and I end up with 8,000 ideas and 46 tile designs, and I don't know actually what I even like anymore. So the virtuals have been a blessing of something that we hadn't really, apart from when we've got a bride abroad, had we done before. I mean, it's a very hands-on industry. We want to put you in dresses. We want to make you feel a certain way, and that is the magic that my team and myself do when we've got you in the boutique. So we are, you know, we really massively missed human contact, but we are doing absolutely everything we can to make sure if we have a second wave, that we can keep that all up, and we can rest assured. You know, we were proud to be calling our brides before they had to call us to follow up on anything. And I think what COVID has taught us is so important to nurture people and look after people. And I think the reflection of businesses that I've had to deal with over things and how they've treated me, it's made me want to have a lifelong partnership with them, or it's made me kind of think, that's not okay to deal with people like that. We're all in this together.
Tell me, if you go right back to the beginning of your story, and I know we've got some questions and comments coming in, but if you go right back to the beginning of your story, and what I just love is, you know, you've already described yourself as not necessarily academic. As soon as your GCSEs were done, you were straight out to art college. You went to university, and then you went to Central St Martin's, and then you had an internship at none other than Vivienne Westwood. Yeah. What were those early days like? Because I asked that question because so many people watching now and that will watch this, you know, there's been more businesses started up in June than ever before. My prediction is we will see more businesses start in 2020 than ever before on record. Yeah. So I feel like these stories about the beginning help people understand that you might be so successful now, but there was a time where you were just starting. Can you take us back for that on that story, on that journey?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't academic. I really didn't love school. I mean, I just didn't fit in. It wasn't for me. I was freckly and a little bit chubby and called Halfpenny. I mean, all of those things contributed to not the best start, but actually all of those awful things have made me the person I am today. And I don't know. I wasn't good at retaining information, so exams were a no-go for me. So that always let me down. Coursework, if the whole thing would have been on that, I would have been fine. So I left there, went to art college, found myself, started painting my Doc Martens and painting jeans and trying to express my identity through my clothes. And then got on to do a fashion degree in Yorkshire, loved it, wasn't necessarily the best. And I don't think throughout my whole kind of creative journey, I was necessarily the best designer in the class, but I just had that love and that passion. I think if you've got those elements to wanting to start a business, then you can surround yourself with people that can enhance everything that, you know, you're not necessarily great at. And as long as you believe in what you're doing and you can really show love, passion, and, you know, you want to do the very best, then I'd say go for it. Open that bakery if you've always dreamt of being the baker. All my friends have started doing the most incredible sourdough, or make those cakes, or start a dress brand, or, you know, start making jewelry.
So were you comfortable with what some would class, and we don't class it now, I'm not saying that in a sort of contrived way, but were you sort of comfortable with your weaknesses? Were you sort of,
no, definitely not.
No, not at the beginning. Me too. You know, It takes a few good decades, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm in my mid-40s now, and I would say it took me to 40 to actually realise that my failures are not my weakness. Actually, they are, and things that might have happened, you know, throughout my life have actually, you know, it's that question, isn't it? What would you tell your younger self? And it's just hold your head up high and be proud of who you are. And you know, I used to kind of go from Derbyshire, and I'd be embarrassed that I was northern, and, you know, and that I didn't go to private school. And actually, no, I'm really proud of kind of, you know, the job my parents did with me, and the foundations that they laid out for me to make me, you know, a good human. And gosh, what a
good human.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny, when you look back at it, you just almost go, if I wasn't, I mean, again, not in a sort of Pinteresty quotey way, but, you know, if I wasn't a bit shit at these things, and sort of I didn't lose my energy to these areas, you know, this is why I excel in these areas. So in a way, your weaknesses really enhance your strengths, because you know, unless you can't be great at everything, or you can't be more left and right, or even balanced, or all these things. And I think so many of us, especially women, you know, we slightly need to be a little bit perfect in everything before we feel that we can go the next step. So when you think about your journey now, so then you created your business, and you ended up then going from Central St Martin's. You went then to become a stylist for 15 years, and you started before starting Halfpenny in 2005 from the classic living room table, from the kitchen table. You started, and I spoke to a jewelry brand yesterday who had this ridiculous early growth. You know, you also were very successful from the beginning, how did you hold tight? How did you sort of, go with this and stay afloat?
I used to work all hours God sent, really. I was working Monday to Friday as a stylist, doing TV commercials, and sometimes taking me abroad. And then I'd work Saturday and Sunday seeing brides and showing them my collection. And back then, sometimes you'd see 10 brides and sell to only 2. So it was a labour of love, investing all of that time in people that potentially wouldn't necessarily then order from you. And it was all word of mouth back then. It was pre the internet. It was pre being able to quickly create an Instagram page and start posting loads of, there was none of that. It genuinely was all word of mouth. And when that started,
I know
conversion was kind of,
don't we wish
8 out of 10.
Don't we wish that there was social media back in the days? Because we started NOS in 2006. I mean, wouldn't that have been very handy?
Yeah, very handy. It would have been so much easier. And also, it was 2005 when I officially launched my website as well. So I graduated in the late 90s and I started doing wedding dresses on the side with my styling back then while I was doing the masters as well. And then in 2005 did Amelia Fox's wedding dresses, who I'd been styling for photo shoots and things. And we bumped into somebody at Vogue magazine. They said, let's give you a tour of Vogue. And it was just like that whole Devil Wears Prada thing. And they said, oh, we're doing a shoot on weddings. And then they featured one of my belts in the feature. And they said, can we have your website for the credit? And I was like, website? I don't have a website. So Amelia said, oh, well, let me just chuck on a few dresses and I'll model the dress you made for me and the other one and all your vintage ones that I'd been collecting for years that I did show brides to inspire them. And Millie and I just did a shoot with a gorgeous friend, Kat, and that, like, we quickly...
That was it.
That was it. It begun, and then Amelia modelled the next 2 or 3 shoots, which I suppose gave me an element of credibility, really, having such a British sort of iconic actress. She was massive in Silent Witness, which had kind of catapulted her being in the Fox dynasty, and she... it was just so amazing that she was just such a gorgeous and loyal friend that she told everyone about.
That she did that. What a great leg up that was, huh? I mean, that was just it's those moments, isn't it, that's that can bless you. I've got a few comments actually I'm going to read. Sarah Nosrina, I'm so sorry if I pronounce that incorrectly. I am dyslexic. It's my only excuse for being like this. Sending love from America. I can't wait to try on your stunning gowns.
Aww.
So there we are. We have Dotty Red Studio. Nurturing is so important towards our customers. The Holiday Shop London. Nurture, great words, and definitely describes the small business community. I think that's so true. Social on Toast, what a great handle name. Kate, you're literally just spoken to me. Open the bakery. I think you just created a business then.
Good.
I just literally just think that you did it. Just there. We've just seen a business birth live here. Social on Toast, we wish you luck. Go and open your bakery.
Do it.
Mama Leopard Jewelry, love hearing people's journeys. I've got another question. They haven't left their details. It is notoriously hard to start out in the fashion industry. What are your biggest tips?
Internships. We recruit from our interns nearly 70% of the time because just the joy and love that we get from watching these amazing graduates or school leavers or somebody that's just wanting a career change that comes into the business. And my complete right hand woman has been with me 5 years now and started off as an intern, and it's there's no one in the business that knows my mind better than she does. And we've got an amazing apprentice that's stepping up gradually, and apprentice schemes and internships for sure. It just shows your dedication. You're able to show your skills. I mean, go to a company. Smaller companies are better because, like my company, there's 18 of us now. We took 3 new people on last week, and you get to do more. You get to be more hands-on. Yes, you're going to make cups of tea and empty the bins and run out for loo roll, but nothing I wouldn't expect myself to do. So, smaller companies, get to do
I
more.
think you're right, and I'm interested that you hired 3 new people last week, because there is a lot of doom and gloom going on at the moment, and I think we're having to make some hard decisions as businesses, redundancies, and we know that our furlough is going to finish in October, and I'm waiting for the wave, the news, and those awful headlines that I'm predicting we're going to get. But it's also interesting that a lot of small businesses are doing okay. Actually, yesterday someone wrote on when I was interviewing Alice from Posh Totty, that she's doing 15 times last December every month. You've got businesses that are doing well, and they're going to require new help. But so internship and sort of taking that leap into saying, I'm going to have an okay 2021. Have you decided that, Kate, that, you're going for it?
We are going for it. We think we're going to be busier than we've ever been next year. We're setting up an internal kind of little factory. That's something that I've wanted to do for so long. And there's loads of incredible schemes if you're on government credit schemes. I can't think of what it's called. The old-fashioned dole. I can't. What's it? The dole.
Oh, yeah.
So if businesses take on people that have been made redundant and are claiming credit, there's 100%, I believe, contribution towards taking on apprentices. So this is the perfect opportunity for businesses out there to start recruiting people, and don't feel that you aren't good enough to apply into an industry that's not necessarily where your history lies. I think if you write a passionate cover letter with your CV and show that you're willing to do and try anything, and you are the perfect person for that job, then go for it. So don't be put off by jumping into a different career.
But you know what? That's just a really interesting thing. The next theme of Holly & Co is being the change. And the reason that we picked that is because I think right now we're all feeling a little bit disempowered. We feel that we're not bloody in control of this, and that we're just waiting to hear the next news headline to whether we're allowed to get married or not, whether we're going to have a business or not, whether our shops are going to be open. And so I really wanted to start to bring power back, and I think that that's so interesting when you look at where can you recruit from. Actually, yes, there's LinkedIn, yes, there's things, but there are a lot of amazing people right now being made redundant who might be claiming the dog, might be doing something they've never done before. Have you put your advertising out there? Is that the moment you can change someone's life who's just gone through the most horrific redundancy, never thought they'd be made redundant? It's a really interesting thing, and it's where our small businesses can make that change. Would you agree?
Most definitely, 100%. Yeah, it is. We've advertised for a job that's coming up in a couple of months' time, and that I've never ever had so many CVs through the mailbox. It's kind of crazy. So that it is obvious that some of the best people out there have been made redundant, but don't let that put anyone off that hasn't got the correct experience. But it is, it's.
Yeah. Well, I think it's inspiring you saying that. That's made me even think of making sure that when we're looking to recruit, that we are absolutely going out there and seeing what nuggets of gold have, people who never should be, out there for hire, because they were the best stars and they've had a life change. I've got a few more questions. Lillian May Studio. Wow, such an inspirational story, Kate. Love it. Delia Beach. Community is so helpful for building a brand and asking people what they want, which thanks to social media, we're able to. Florals at number 9. Great conversations. I'm loving your story. Lala Rook School of Sewing. Yes. Apprenticeships, teaching and learning. I'm just about to take on my first ever, and I'm really very excited. So that's so great to hear, isn't it? My paper cuts forest, I just took my first intern, and I'm so excited about it. So love to hear this. I cannot believe that, my paper cuts forest. Who would have thought that you would have got an intern now? I'm so proud of you. Right, going back to you, I would love to, you basically have created this phenomenal brand. I totally adore your style. I lost a good 2 hours in the vortex of your website. I mean, oh my goodness. And what I just loved is that I started, well, I didn't start life here, but I did have a very good stint in the bridal industry. I worked in Brides magazine, and I was there and did all the fashion. Fashion was my area. And so when I look at the fashion industry and how it's changed, and I know I'm saying the obvious to you, but you know, when you just, you know, the classics, you know, we watched Bridesmaids, the film, the other night, and it just, again, had me howling. You know, those bridesmaids moments where you're all wearing the peach and the florals, and, you know, no body shape is celebrated except for one body shape. And when I just salivated over your website and your designs, the fact you do celebrate all body shapes, the fact you celebrate the time, you know, from jumpsuits to the bigger dresses, to the tighter dresses, to the shorter, to the longer, but all connected so that you look all part as one. But you're really building design for real women, you know, who've got careers on the Monday, so they can't look like a floral peach meringue on the Friday and actually feel comfortable. And that you have the black edit. I mean, the black edit was just, I was like, right, I'm throwing everything away. I just want to be in black. Who told me I couldn't be in black? Tell me about this. Tell me about this moment that, you know, were you always like this? Did you always have that in the back of your mind? Or have you just, as you've grown as a designer, become more confident to allow confidence in who you're dressing?
I've always been like this. I mean, I'm a size 20 myself. I can't walk into a high street store necessarily and buy clothes that fit me. I think my career as a stylist, dressing everyone from kind of Rihanna to Shirley Bassey, you know, these bodies are all different, with Erin O'Connor in the middle and a Kate Moss on the side, and then Mick Hucknall. It's like I've dressed every body shape, male or female, and all of those have informed my design throughout my career. Things that, you know, accentuate somebody that's a very straight up, straight down body shape, and how working with women, you know, all my brides really inspire me and influence the next collection and things. You know, I feel that this it's just an obvious thing, you know. We aren't all the same, and we need to celebrate our differences. That's what makes us incredible and unique and special. And I know that when people have bridesmaids, they want a narrative of some sort within their bridesmaid party, whether they go, everyone go and buy a floral dress that suits you, or, you know, I'm going to choose a colour. So we've launched with the first 3 colours, and we're launching an amazing green and an amazing black in the sister collection for Christmas. So there'll be amazing party dresses. So we'll have to get one of those over to you, Holly. And it's so that something like that. I get so excited. And it's so that you can kind of, you know, create your tribes of bridesmaids, but equally those bridesmaids can then throw that amazing jumpsuit on and chuck it on with a big beautiful sweater or a jacket and wear it to a party. So it's like, I don't want that dress falling off the hanger down the back of your wardrobe and never being seen by the light of day ever again. My sustainability message is that our garments and, you know, our wedding dresses are made to order, so that we don't have surplus stock that ends up in landfills. Everything is made and with somebody in mind, and we want them to be an heirloom. We want them to pass them on to generations, or let friends wear your veil or an element of your outfit you can wear again to a party. And the sister collection is very much that. It's not a bridesmaid's dress. You wear it, it's done. You wear it again and again.
You wear it again and again. And it feels, it's like the best things, isn't it? It feels obvious. It feels like it should have been there always, you know, that your bridesmaid dress was going to be reused, that you if you look great in a jumpsuit, and, you know, but isn't it unbelievable that, you know, I have never seen anyone do anything like you have done. It was a breath of fresh air, and I love that they're going to be black bridesmaids dresses and jumpsuits. This is so great. Tell me though, also, I don't know about you, but I feel like we're this whole pandemic is slightly a great smokescreen for this other word that's around called Brexit. And, you know, when we have Brexit coming up, it's a topic that's just fallen off the agenda. And you know, your craftsmanship is very UK. You know, it is, you're proud and you champion British made. And, you know, I do think that what a brand British made is generally, isn't it? But I also know that you know, you source your laces from France, you have your stretch duchesses from Germany, you've got your silk crepe black satin from Italy, and that you've also got some Asian manufacturers. How worried are you, and what are you going to do? I mean, is it something that you're following? Because I do feel like this entire thing is happening, yet are we really up to date with the impact? That's all we used to speak about before COVID.
I definitely think it's kind of been, it's almost been silenced for sure with the pandemic kind of taking over the headlines, and I do wonder what is being squirreled away under there and swept under the carpet.
Me too.
Gutted that we left the EU. We've got to now just commit to it and move on and get all of these in place and try and open up the international trade between, you know, for us, you know, getting into Australia, it's so expensive to export our dresses into there, which we would absolutely love to be in Australia, and to kind of, you know, try and bridge the gap around the world for export. Supplies, on the other hand, and the cost it's going to cost to get our laces in from France, there will be more import taxes, I'm led to believe, and we've had to put a whole load of new paperwork in for moving goods around Europe, and we have some amazing stockists in Germany and other parts of Europe that it's kind of worrying. I don't want anyone to have to pay more for our things just because of the kind of import tax when it's just so close. It's crazy, but yeah, who knows? I honestly don't know what's, you know, what the model is going to be for all of the import and export and the impact. But yeah, I feel sad.
Do you think it's going to increase the brand of British made? Do you think that the sort of increase its sort of love and desire for it and understanding?
I hope so, and I don't think it should have had anything to do with Brexit anyway, the manufacturing in the UK.
Yes.
I grew up in Derbyshire. I saw the impacts of the devastation that when we started sending all of our factories for Marks and Spencer's out to Asia. My mum used to work for a company called Celestian Textiles in the Midlands. My school friend Ian's dad was the director of that company, and it was a very proud and amazing and very crafted. They made all the underwear, which is a skill. Making underwear is a real specialist area. It wasn't just, you know, kind of separate basic stuff. It was a real skilled thing, and then all the factory and the machinery just got shipped abroad, and I just thought how many people were made redundant, and it made me sad. And for many years I've wanted to open a factory, and I've talked with many TV channels about kind of doing it and taking graduates and taking the unemployed and showing them what a skill it can be to be a machinist. My grandmother was a denim machinist, and she used to fix all the overalls for Rolls-Royce. You know, you didn't split your overall, throw them in the bin and get a new one. They would go to the factory, Granny would sit there, she'd patch them, she'd darn them, and then your beautiful overalls would come back to you repaired. Like, we need to go back to that. We need to start being proud of these beautiful clothes that we have and repair them and mend them and make do and mend, and also look at what amazing craftsman you could be. You know, everyone's going, oh yeah, make it British, make it British. It's not a thing. It's a way of life. We've got this rite of passage. We need to exploit it, and it should just be something that we're all really proud of. And it's just. Well,
I do hope you get your own TV show then doing that. I mean, I would watch that. I mean, it would be amazing, because until we get the, you know, and again, I'm not being harsh on anybody, but you know, there's a lot of sort of alpha females out there on TV that I don't know is doing the best job in allowing women to think, oh, I see myself in this person. And, you know, just talking to you now, you know, if you were to do that that program and, you know, again, inspire people to what it, you know, we're going to have a multi-hyphenated, aren't we, roles. You know, what if you could have one day job and then actually start learning a skill like you're talking about in the evenings? And I think everything is going to change. But I really, you know, if anyone from Channel 4 or BBC is watching, that this is a program that needs to be done.
It does. It does. Well, I need to get back on that and talk to people, because we've got the whole plan for it and we've talked about it for years, so it needs to happen.
And we need to not have certain things on our TV screens that are a waste of time, just because they're sort of, you know, we're all used to it now and it sort of makes everybody money. But we actually need some great programs like you're saying. I've got a couple more questions before I let you go. But Lillian May Studio, I love that there is a black edit. My grandmother's wedding dress, oh my gosh, was black velvet. And I've always thought it was awesome. Isn't that amazing that her grandmother's was black? Hair by Dubois, incredible. We live in a throwaway world now. Everything's replaced. But your message is absolutely incredible. And Mrs. Marvelous, what a great handle that is, Mrs. Marvelous. Absolutely, life skills have been lost. I just wanted to ask my final question, which was, when we think, you know, I was just at my shop today and it was bustling, and we have the social distancing stickers, and we had the best August ever. So that's a bit ridiculous. Tell me what you feel about the high street now, and you know, you've got your own physical space, and what that's going to look like. You know, is there two ways of thinking about this? Are the dinosaurs going to go, and they needed to go anyway, and actually the model needs to be updated? Is it an independent high street that's going to bloom, or are we slightly doomed?
I really strongly believe the independent high street is about to resurge. I think people are going to they're going to take these leaps of faith. They're going to feel like this pandemic was all a message for them to go out there and do that. And with all the grants available, and with so many people wanting to support other people, and for people jumping into bed with other people to make incredible businesses, I think, independent high street, the dinosaurs must leave. I think anyone that, independent high street.
Go on.
No, I'm leaving it.
Were you going to say something naughty there?
Probably, yeah.
Were you going to say something that was going to get you into trouble? I can tell.
Yes.
Dinosaurs, whoever you are, you need to leave, and you need to make space for the independent high street. And I just love what you just said there. It's also, isn't it, as you said, it's just almost like that sort of slightly, that you say, fuck it moment. You know, it's like, right, I'm just going to go and do this. But I love that idea, and I don't know about you, I love mixing it up like a cocktail that's never been created before. What if you put a hairdresser with something else? What if you put a bridal designer with someone else? You know, if you're able to share the risks? What if the back of the studio is online, because you know that that's 60% of your sales? But you know,
exactly.
I just love, and wasn't it time that this happened anyway? You know, the days that you could run an independent store with the same stock or seasons of stock and slightly not reinvent it, you know, or...
You should bring up sharing the space as well, because when I took the leap of faith and rented my first building on Woburn Walk, which is from the council, I thought, well, I ensured that when I got the lease written, it said that I was allowed to sublet a portion of my space. So always make sure you get somebody to read your leases and things. But I wanted to future-proof it in case I ever wanted to step away from the business, in case I wasn't making enough money. So look at that possibility and for example, if you do want to set up a dress shop or an art gallery, maybe you find a little barista that can just have a little coffee machine at the front, and you can share that space, but it's something that complements. I always thought, you know, maybe I'll have a florist in the front of the wedding dress shop. And unfortunately for me, we just ran out of space within 5 minutes and then needed another shop. and hopefully that happens to you too. But do think about getting into bed with somebody that complements your business, your ethos, but make sure you kind of wrap that up for when you get massive, that you're going to need to say, hang on a minute, I can't fit you in here, but let's go and get another bigger shop and we can grow together.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, I love what you're saying, because I haven't met someone who sort of is saying the things that I've also been thinking. I love that. And it takes you back. Do you remember Hyper and
yes.
that idea? I love Hyper and that idea of is the future of retail, are these massive buildings, what's going to happen to them? Is it going to be actually not the Westfields of the world, but more
the Dover Street Market vibe? But
Hypers of the world, where you have sections and it's renewed and things like that. And I'm really excited. I love places like Box Park. I think that's quite an ingenious invention and things like. So I'm really glad that you think it's independent as well. Yeah. And I too, I really think it will be. And certainly when you hear what people are doing, they're doing really well at the moment, and it's only the big boys and who are failing, and that's not surprising to me. I'm going to make you blush now and try and summarize our wonderful time together. I would absolutely love it if we aren't in lockdown too, to come and say hello to you and potentially, if I've got a part 2 of my wedding, do I get to have a whole other dress? I'm thinking that potentially I do.
That is what is happening right now. People's seasons are changing. The layers are being added. The extra dresses are going in. We keep doing all of our posts because people are like, we've managed to get married. We found we can get married next Saturday, so I'm going to save my wedding dress for the party. And they're ordering our edit off Net-a-Porter, which is available. So it's kind of like, 2 dresses. I mean, obviously don't break the bank and don't kind of get yourself into debt for that.
Yeah, but if you can, and that is a really valid excuse, jump at it. I mean, who wouldn't? I have enjoyed so much our conversation. Thank you so much for helping everybody. I know that there's been so many really wonderful comments as we've been speaking, and so it's just so nice. I knew you'd be super cool, and you are. And I can't wait to see you maybe in 3D where we can discuss a second dress.
Yes, please do. Come and visit, and we'll hook you up with a bridesmaid sister kind of party.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Oh, loads of love. Take care.
Loads of love. Bye. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Well, seeing as, I've now somehow decided that a second dress is the antidote and it's sort of like the medicine to some of the bad shitty news I've been dealing with in the last 24 hours. That's made me feel a bit better. But let's think about what we've actually taken away from this. Pivoting. Kate took an industry that was absolutely feeling COVID and started virtual appointments. Have you started using technology, in any way in your business, or has that passed you by? I really think you need a customer-centric approach. Nurturing, I think everyone was talking about this word nurturing. Yesterday I said in rather than out. Maybe the word nurture should be in that business Bible book as well. Passion. We all know this, but unless you have that energy and that feeling and that resilience, Kate obviously heard all that news, knew it was going to go to shit, but didn't give up, and she pivoted her business. That needed passion as her fuel. And as she said, it is basically the vital ingredient for success. And can you make your weaknesses actually prop up your strengths? So unless you had a lack of ability to do maths, unless you had those weaknesses where you couldn't deal with bigger vision or you can't deal with detail, what does that mean that you can deal with? And basically on that note, what about positivity? Kate feels like such a positive woman. I mean, she's been in this industry for so long, and you need to be positive, not to the extent of being naive in a negative way, but you do need to be absolutely optimistic and positive. Positive for the future. Kate's saying she's going to smash 2021. It's going to be the biggest ever. So, yes, we can go and look at Daily Mail and we can go and put on the news and we can see the doom and gloom. But what if 2021 is going to be a great year for your industry? body positive and positive impact on the planet. What are you doing? What are you building that you could then go and create the sister range like Kate has, embracing color, embracing a new way of doing, looking at your brides and your hens and your bridal group. What could you do to actually do something that really stands out? Is your USP? Do you have a USP? And positive about the future of the independent high street? Because, you know, what if you did have as you said, a bridal boutique with a florist outside? Could there be a coffee shop that wants to start off small that can take the corner of your shop? Is there someone that you know that you could pair up with and take a space? I know I've been banging on about this now for, well, forever, but like seriously banging on about it for a good 7 months now. But really do think about it, because I think people more than ever, as we are locked inside, the moments we can get outside, you know, the big department stores, the Westfields of the world potentially is not where you want to go. So I'm really, really excited. Kate, I knew would be cool. You know, look at her glasses, just look at her, the mustard, the whole thing going on. And she was. And I'm so, so pleased that we got to speak about the wedding industry on the news, that potentially we're going to be going into some darker times. And yeah, so for that, I'm wishing any bride or anyone that's got any relations to any brides out there, I'm hoping that we get through all of this. And it was so wonderful that Kate has joined us. And thank you as ever to Dell, who allowed these experts to be here for me to chat, to hopefully help you, for you to be able to ask those questions, and we can hopefully give you the answers live off the cuff that you feel connected. It's a joy. I love every moment of interviewing these amazing people and interacting with you guys, most importantly. Lots of love to you all. Take care.